Hello everyone, it's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to our live audience show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown as always. Hi ladies.
Hi. Good morning.
A very, very trafficy Wednesday today. Hi Tokwe, how are you doing?
I'm very
Nima
good.
is stuck in traffic.
Yes.
I mean, she's supposed to be here. We had to drag Aziza from news. Yeah. Thanks for rescuing us. And our live audience show, thank you for coming. Even in the rain, we love you so much. Thank you so much for making that extra sacrifice. I know once it rains in Lagos, everything almost shuts down. I mean, there's traffic everywhere. Tell us about your own experience this morning.
Like a journey of less than 10 minutes took me about 40 minutes to get here. And I think that there's something on Ikorodu Road because it's blocked from the bridge, from this bridge. No, if you're coming from like Maryland or Oshodi or all that, you can't. If you're going towards Ikorodu, you can't pass. So they're trying to create a diversion, and so that caused major traffic. But I am grateful that I am here. You know, my producers were worried and they called. I said, "Don't worry, I'll be there in time." And you know, when I was saying that, it was just a fit statement because I didn't know what I would see in front. So, but
I probably also ask the audience what the experience was in traffic today, but I'll come to you. Amaba is joining us. Hey, welcome our guest co-host today. You're one of the finalists at the time. We were looking for a co-host. How are you doing?
Very well.
Good to have you back.
Thank you
so
so
did you see
much.
Traffic coming?
Slight traffic. You know that rain and Lagos, they
don't gel. They're not friends at all. Once it rains like this, you just gotta.
So there was traffic and, you know, really slow, but then I made sure I left earlier because I saw that the rain, and I needed to meet the call time. So
yeah.
Yes.
But how are you doing though?
Very
Tell
well.
us anything interesting about you you want us to know?
Interesting.
I know you're doing acting at some point.
Yes, I'm an actor. Yes, and I embarked on a weight loss journey recently. Interesting.
Should I teach you? There's somebody called Mariam Longe. She's one of our ladies on co-host. She actually walked me through this keto. I know keto. Everybody's heard of keto.
Keto.
But trust me, that thing works.
But Mariah, it's about discipline.
Exactly.
It's about discipline because you'll be sacrificing a lot of meals that were born with.
But how sustainable is it?
It is.
If I decide that I'll keep it.
Mariam does it every single day. Mariam is here every day. She does it.
Doesn't like
Tokwe
good
did it,
food.
and
I mean, I did it, but I had to stop.
I didn't keto. I didn't keto. I was exercising and watching my weight. So,
Are you still on keto?
I
didn't keto.
She didn't keto at all.
I did just exercise and.
When I did my keto, I went from 97 kg to 85 kg.
Are you still on keto
I stopped.
right now?
No, I stopped it because of my condition. But I stopped. Was from 97, I went to 85 kg, which I hope to resume
Well, is this something
afterwards.
you can do like long term?
No, but you see, the thing
Absolutely
is,
can.
you
Once
might
you
not
change your
become
lifestyle.
a keto for life, but you would regularly, it's about a discipline. You do it for like six weeks or 2 months, and you see yourself shed that weight.
Yes.
You eat a bit, then you go back to it again.
Exactly.
You
That's
eat a bit,
what
then you go back to it.
I
So
was about to say
it's going to be a recurring circle, but you
Yes.
can't just let your body just have everything it wants like that.
But okay, don't worry, I'll send you my...
Thank you.
look at you. Okay, you see. All right, how you doing, Ziza?
I'm good. This is my
He's supposed to be
first
first
time
on the show. Yeah, high five. He's supposed to come tomorrow. But we had to drag him because Nima unfortunately is stuck in traffic. How you doing, Aziza?
I'm good.
I like the hair.
Thank you. I'm feeling
Good.
good.
Nice.
Thank you.
So first time on Your View.
Yes.
So what? You're the news guys always yabos. That's we are just talking nonsense.
No,
That's what we heard.
really.
That's what we heard. That you news
We
guys.
talk as well. I've talked about 2 hours already this morning.
Oh, remember
so, you know,
Aziza?
yes.
Remember the interview she did with the Oba of Lagos? Was it Oba of Lagos?
Yes, I'm of Lagos.
That went trendy. When the Oba was saying that, wait, I go marry you. Did you guys see that video?
Just start.
He was saying that something about when you best that kind of thing. I was like, this is our Lagos Oba. He's ready for anything.
So if the Oba says he wants to marry you, you say no.
I'm married with 2 kids, happily married.
Since then, she's been going to interview all of us. I mean, seen plenty of interviews.
I am not afraid.
So, members of the audience, hello, hi, thanks again for coming. I really appreciate you. Anybody here for the first time? First time, it has to be our loyal customers because first time has to be like, with this rain, I beg. But thank you so much again for coming. Really appreciate you. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're going to start with Punch governorship tickets. APC approves direct primaries for Lagos, Kano, Imo, others. Buhari sends Fayemi to woo Omishore for Osun rerun poll. Jubilation as court nullifies Imo deputy governor's impeachment. Two held for flying drone over Oshoba's Abeokuta home. Minimum wage NLC tells workers to begin strike on Thursday. Economy may slip back into recession, CBN warns. Buhari seeks expansion of UN Security Council orders. And DSS detained Aisha Buhari's ADC for fraud. All right, lots of stories here. I read the one about two young guys, they're flying a drone. I mean, the security officials in Oshoba's house actually arrested them because they thought that was a security breach. They were just, I think they were playing with their drones over his house. But they said that something similar happened in the past where people actually saw what was going on and that could have actually...
Thank you very much.
But I don't think is there any law in Nigeria that says that certain places you can't fly drones
on a private
permission?
property?
Because
within my house,
if I give my son a drone as a gift and it's flying over somebody, and I think it was a political officer there.
So when they arrest you, you would answer that it was something done innocently. And no, he has a security official within his compound. You can't come into my compound. My security official will hold you down.
It's invasion of privacy.
This guy, for God's sake, is not in his compound.
In a country where kidnapping takes place regularly, you know all the gates. You know where the security people are mounted. You know you can with the drone know every detail
in that house.
Just like you can just invade airspace, you can't just fly your plane into another territory without being shut down. So you have to respect someone's airspace. The space is invasion of privacy generally.
So at least we should know now that don't just fly your drone.
Exactly.
So there's another story I was going to take in Punch. APC approves direct primaries for Lagos, Kano, Imo. Okay, you have that. Who has that story?
Yes, I read that.
We already know
story.
that. Yeah.
But it's just that they've just analyzed the system they're going to use in various states because the governorship primary comes up this Saturday. So the states, they have a list of it in the inner page of the Punch
newspaper. As an individual that wants to go and vote in this election, I feel worried about the lack of internal framework within APC. Like, this is what we do. This is our culture within APC, and this is whether you like it or not, you can go. But when we start changing the rules at different points...
Say they're changing the rules. They're not changing the rules. Let's just get it clear.
They want.
Explain to me.
Let me explain. NWC decided, usually, they use the indirect. That's what's the decision. But they actually have the option of choosing direct or indirect.
Or consensus. Or
consensus. So now, with this new NWC chairman, that's Oshomole, they're now giving them the option to choose the option they want. And a few states have chosen.
It's always been there. The rule has always been there. It's just this time around, like she said, the NWC has given them exactly.
Okay, let's move on now to The Nation. Oshun, Lasso Omisore joined forces with APC to fight PDP. CBN Nigeria risk relapse into recession. Buhari's wife's ADC held for 2.5 billion naira fraud. Slain banker died of brain injuries. Abdusalami, we stopped Jonathan from trying Buhari and Atiku. And oil price hits $82 as OPEC won't raise output. Now, I remember we took the story 3 years ago about the man that allegedly killed his wife. So autopsy have come out and they said that she died from brain injuries. Obviously, continued, there was water in her brain, and obviously it showed that there was a bit of battery involved. Yeah, but
no man intends to kill his wife, but when you keep on beating your wife and the person dies,
intends to kill anyone.
So many intend to kill.
Very few, but those that actually end up dying, the few of them, they don't regret it.
We have to be careful what you say.
The point is your actions are building up. This one now, there was fluid in the brain. It was building up, so invariably you kill her.
No, it is once you beat anybody once, you can't control yourself anymore, and that is why they preach that.
They'll always be eager to want to do it again.
I had the bride. You know, we've been cutting.
Yes,
so somebody has won the bride. Yes,
that's what Nation is reporting.
Yes, so Omisore, true, because the Punch was saying that they're still trying to get. APC is still trying to get Omisore into partnership. But the Nation is carrying the story that Omisore and Lasso have decided to work with APC to fight PDP in Osun State. Whichever way it happened, I'm wondering what drama, what was battered, what was the trade-off?
Exactly.
What was the trade-off?
Exactly. Remember that Omisore said he was in talks with the APC and the PDP. Yes. So this is just politics at its best.
Negotiation.
It's all about
politics.
politics.
I'm so interested in this particular election because of, we see that it is Elemiloma last in this kind of situation.
This is a gay moment, when you know that anything can happen at any time. It's the action part of the movie.
Yeah. And Buhari's wife's ADC being arrested.
What happened?
Apparently, it was Buhari's wife that said they should arrest her ADC.
I didn't read that one. No.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Okay, what I read was that... yeah, go ahead, Aziza.
Actually, what happened was that it's just about influence peddling. The ADC was using the status of the wife of the president to get funds from politicians, from officials, without the knowledge of the and when she got these monies, eventually, he didn't, hand them over to the wife of the president. So what the wife of the president did basically was just to hands off, let, security
she was booking appointments. The ADC was booking appointments and collecting bribes.
Actually,
on behalf of the wife of the president.
SSS should investigate.
Yes, of course. Actually, I actually thought it was that lady that we saw with. You remember we've interviewed Aisha Buhari, but I was told this is a man. This is different from that because that woman.
But how truthful or plain is this our president's wife? Like
no. But she's always been. She's actually a very like.
Remember, she was the one that even criticized our own president, her husband, that he wasn't, bringing people that worked for him to get to power close.
Let's move on now to Vanguard. Oshun APC PDP trade blames and Wu Omishore. Minimum wage Labour set-up committee as strike begins tomorrow. Lagos APC primary Ambode's group reaches out to GAC council bosses and that's what I was saying yesterday. Papa Oshodi gridlock worsens as presidential task force fails to act. Jonathan conceded defeat without our knowledge, says National Peace Committee. Leah Sheribu's mother orders sue Inspector General AGF for 500 million naira. Aisha Buhari's ADC in DSS net over alleged 2.5 billion naira fraud.
Lagos and traffic, it was bad before we started having rainfall. Now it's worse off. The challenge is that the task force, which was initiated to solve the gridlock between Papa Oshodi.
After the vice president came.
Yes, after the vice president came, are now saying that they can't do anything. They even said that they alleged within the papers that some of the task force officials are saying, just park, because people are not ready, So we're not having a case where this is another failed one. If we start counting how many committees have been set up, in the minimum, we would have 15.
Too many.
We would have 15. On this same Papa Oshodi expressway.
Saying that there is no solution.
One of the tanker drivers suggested that they should create, that we only have like 1 or 2 gates into Tin Can. We should have more gates into it. That the suggestion has been made since, and that they should have a proper,
like they don't have solutions though. The issue really, I think, is just the fact that I don't know why either funding issue. I can't speak for them.
I don't think
but people, different solutions have been proposed in the past.
It's not about funding, really. There are so many issues to this. When you have a country that has just one, when tankers come to Lagos, basically, to get from one port,
so it becomes almost insurmountable because every single day they keep coming.
Trucks coming in from other states to Lagos.
But I like to believe that this port has been there since
forever.
And somehow this is worse than we have ever seen in Lagos.
Because population is increasing.
So are we saying that there are more tankers going in that direction? There are more things coming into the country.
Bad roads.
Infrastructure.
I thought they gave it to Dangote to fix for us, but now we're still waiting. We've not gotten it fixed yet.
Anyways, we have to move on. Let us just take one last story. Labour is saying we're going to start strike tomorrow.
Yeah,
that story?
The minimum wage has to go to 65,000 for everyone. I don't know how visible that is, but then they're saying that by midnight today, they're commencing the warning strike. They had given the federal government 21 days warning that if they did not increase the minimum wage, that they would commence strike.
It's not even just about that, because the committee set up to review the minimum wage, has so many stakeholders, the labor officials, those on the part of the government. And the idea is for different groups within the committee to come together, bring your own figures, and then, you banded them together and arrive at it.
The governors have not agreed.
Exactly. On one side, and then the federal government has not even presented. The federal government has not even presented its own figures yet, and then the Ministry of Labour now compounded the whole issue by saying that the committee should even just suspend its actions indefinitely. That enraged Labour officials.
But I think there's a pitfall to this matter. Sorry, there's a pitfall to this matter in the sense that they said that if you're not careful, recession will come back again.
Oh,
yes. If
we do not increase the minimum wage, it's part of the said that's the solution.
But the thing is, if there is too much money in the system, inflation will rise.
Emefiele was saying that we are currently at 1.95 growth rate. And I think the first Q quarter, and I think it also went down to 1.5%. That in itself is enough weakness in our system to show economic weakness. That it shows that we might slip into recession. Other countries, when it gets to about 3%, like according to what I was told yesterday, once it gets to 3%, there's already issue of recession. But here, we are still...
Money will flow with politics.
Yeah, so we are hoping that...
And we are moving towards election, absolutely.
Money will flow.
Okay, unfortunately, we have to wrap up on Front Page Review. When we come back, our hot topic today, we'll continue the discussion we had yesterday on wives getting husbands' approval before buying properties. And later, The women we love, we actually expect our guest, but I'm not sure. I think she's stuck in traffic. Also, Lagos shuts down once there's traffic. So such a pathetic story. But let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. The Nigeria Labour Congress is set to embark on a strike tomorrow due to the fact that the new minimum wage seems to be no longer feasible this September. What are your general thoughts on this? You can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so from the reports we have, a committee was set up last year by the president. And it was a tripartite meeting with, I think it's NLC, TUC, three groups.
State governors.
And the state governors stepped together. And there was an initial figure that was proposed, 56,000 naira. And then they started the meetings, and I think either this year, May or March 2018, they started the proper meetings. And then there was a figure of 85,000 that was proposed, I believe.
Then 65,000.
Then they meet some kind of a compromise to 65,000 naira. Now, also, we've not come up with a proper, a finalized figure from the federal government. But the federal government is asking for Labour to give them more time. They're not saying they're not going to increase the minimum wage. They're just saying, give me some more time, because right now they've indefinitely postponed the next meeting. So that was probably what the issue is. But is that enough for Labour to call on a nationwide strike?
After the Labour Minister in February came out boldly to promise Nigerian workers that by the end of September we will increase minimum wage, we are going to do this for the civil servants and all that. Not just the civil servants now, because, you know, they have their dependents. They have many people under them that depend on them. Remember that our minimum wage is just 18,000 naira. So after coming out to say that she would increase minimum wage on behalf of the federal government, the onus is on the government now, you know, to show up, you know, to bring something tangible to the table, because since that tripartite meeting started, Labour has consistently accused the federal government of not even doing enough, of not, you know, bringing its weight down, not bringing figures forward.
They're not saying they're not going to do it. They're just asking for more time.
Because they're writing on the wall. It is obvious to the Labour people that there is no willingness. The idea is because we brought them on the show, it's the willingness, the fact that we are having meetings with them and we can see from their body language that they are not, there's no room for this. They also gave an accusation, the speculation was outside in papers like 2 weeks ago that because of the elections, they would pacify us, giving us a figure, and they will back out of it, because the sincere fact is, according to the finance minister that left, that resigned, we cannot afford it. So if the minister already said we cannot afford it, and then somebody is now negotiating and say, wait, we will do something, it's obvious that somebody is lying somewhere. And I don't want to be fooled amongst this thing.
From 18,000 to 65,000, that's ridiculous to me. I feel like if Labour really wants to get what they want, then they should actually make it lower. I know that, truthfully, the standard of living in Lagos, Nigeria, and whatever has gone up so high, and even 65,000 can barely do nothing. But we know the Nigerian economy. We know that we're not up to that. If federal government tells Labour that they will do 65,000, I bet you that it won't happen.
But okay, go ahead.
Let's take the Osun scenario. All salaries for 3 years, and a few days to elections, you pay them salaries.
Thank you.
I think now is when Nigerian and Labour should be talking to every candidate out there. What alternatives do you have to generate internal revenue in your state? We can't continue to wait for federal government to bail us out. We know every 4 years, they need to renegotiate the minimum wage, which is what they're doing. And like Tokpe said, it might be a bait towards 2019 elections, and they will back out. So every candidate now who is coming into office, most of them, we saw the debate, don't even know exactly what their internal revenues will be.
Exactly.
Take Bono, for instance. Look at how much they generated for the sale of homes in one party alone. And every of those candidates, you've not started to talk to them to understand what they are bringing on the table. We no longer want a state governor vying for office getting into office and waiting for federal government.
But then, you know
that you said yesterday that 20 candidates bought forms, APC forms, which was 22,000, 22 million naira each. So you are making 500 million naira alone just from forms.
Forms alone. But
so, yes, go ahead.
Mariah, but you know that it's one thing to promise, it's another thing entirely to deliver. And that is what we've experienced by time in this country, that politicians will come out to give you so many promises. They will tell you they will make heaven rain, practically. Right. And at the end of the day, when they get to office, they will start telling you stories. So how, like she said, make plans on how to generate funds.
Going back to what Mobola said, which I think is profound, that how realistic is this thing? You are saying governors cannot pay salaries.
They've said it.
With 18,000 naira minimum. So the Lagos State obviously pays more than that, certainly. But other states, you have a minimum of 18,000 naira. Now, if you peg it at 65,000 naira, how realistic is this?
That Labour has. The issues we have concerning labour payment are not issues of just having ministerial discussion. They are issues that are based right from the National Assembly, from the way the Constitution is wired, that says that it has to be a flat rate across all communities within the country, all states. It can't work because the state, in actual fact, the cost of renting a house in Lagos is different from the cost of renting a house. In Maiduguri, it is different. And so why should you be compelling that governor in Maiduguri state to pay the same minimum wage that they are paying in Lagos? Demands. So here's the fact. It is not just with the Minister of Labour. It is with the National Assembly. It is that what can we do constitutionally to ensure that our country is viable?
You see,
why would I be a Labour?
Thank you, Tokwe, for bringing this issue of our National Assembly, because I was with Mr. Otoji yesterday and we're having conversations on this, our lawmakers, what are they really doing?
Exactly.
I mean, these are the kind of laws they're supposed to be changing, but they go there every month, they collect salaries, because I don't really see the real changes, that actually affects our lives.
On the flip side, like Mobolaji said that it's quite ridiculous for Labour to be demanding 65,000 naira, but Labour members will tell you anytime that you're telling us 65,000 naira is too much, but then our lawmakers are getting millions of naira monthly. So how do you now, balance it?
We always know, we already know that lawmakers in Nigeria are greedy. That's
according to you.
According to you. He said it. But
let's not use words.
Elections are coming.
Right.
That can stand as a bait for them to actually want to go for the demands of the NLC, Labour Congress. And so they might meet even midway, maybe not 65, but they might want to do something just because elections are coming. We know that they always try to do that.
Right. Another side to the story, I employ someone and I have them, and you sit down in the office for 1 month. You did not earn any money. You were not productive. You say, but I showed up. I say, so am I paying you salary at the end of the month for showing up in the office and sitting down?
But do you agree when you're at the point of employment that if you don't do anything, I won't pay you?
So here's the thing. Why we need to revisit our constitution. When you employ people into the civil service, what is their job description? What is their KPI? Are they just there to mark register? Because we have civil servants that work for 2 years and they don't get paid anything.
Let me quickly agree to disagree. Now, every civil servant is employed to do something. Nobody comes to the civil service to just sit around. If your job is to carry file from morning to night, carry that file and earn your money. Once you've earned it, before your sweat dries, they should pay you your wages. That is what is the rule. Now, the National Assembly know the impediments to every governor's revenue coming in. State governors don't have power over their state resources, mineral resources within the state. Those are the amendments that the National Assembly, I agree with you that it's a National Assembly issue. The National Assembly should seriously be looking into removing those things and deregulating. We've said, what's it called?
Diversification of the economy?
Giving powers back to the states.
Devolution of powers.
Let powers go back to the state governors. Powers to generate this money, powers to take over the resources within their state, and then pay an arrangement.
Okay, let me take this call. Hang them over. Let me take this call from Yakub. Yakub, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Right.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
And a good morning to the beautiful audience in the studio. For me, I'm of opinion that what Topper said earlier is that these people, the governor of various states, now the election is coming on now. We should be able to ask them, how do you going to generate internal revenue and then to pay the workers in your state? For example, let me give you, I'm in totally support of Labour to go on strike. Why? Number one, if you look at our National Assembly, for them to make a right law for Nigerian citizens, they will go into National Assembly maybe once in a month, and then they will still get their salary. Apart from their salary, they are still getting almost 13 point something million as a running cost. And then you are telling labor that you cannot pay just 65,000 naira as case may be. Where are they getting this money from? Who is the Revenue Mobilization Committee giving them 30.5 million running costs? And then you can't pay the labor. Though the cost of living in Lagos are different from other states. They should be able to enact a law whereby in the serious state, the money they are going to pay.
Okay, thank you very much, Yakub, because this is a very critical question. I mean, everybody's fighting for Osun State. We are tomorrow. That's the big news now, Osun. But guess what? Osun is owing salaries for years.
It's a civil service state.
Yeah, it's a civil service state. It's almost as if they only paid about 3 months, 2015 salaries.
Modulated payments.
When related payments. Now, the problem is that we are having issues where the governor collects money from the center and just shares it. Okay, you pay this one, pay that one. He's not really generating anything. So yes, we are talking about pay. But where's the money coming? How ready?
They have to be creative. They have a lot of gold that is illegally mined, and they can't even tax.
Who is that?
Counter revenue. Gold is there. It is being mined illegally. I'm still going to ask. When we voted Fayemi back into Ekiti State, what was his report on what he did as Minister for Mineral Resources? But let me take tweets.
When we come back, we'll take more tweets. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Obviously, people want to talk about it. And we'll also talk to our audience and hear what their plans are in preparing for this strike starting tomorrow. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, there are lots of tweets are already on this labor issue because they're asking us to stay back home from tomorrow. So we need to know, are we prepared for this? And what are their reasons for embarking on this strike? But let me take a few tweets first, then we'll come to your thoughts.
Karim says, the truth is the government and most especially the ministers are deceitful. Yom says, the labor issue cannot work. The demands of labor should be to fight for social security for our people, not just creating inflation. Olotu Olugbenga says, in the UK, people are paid per hour. When people are not productive and they don't get paid, so minimum wage should be per hour. Jide Jones says, you say lawmakers are selfish, civil servants too are willing to be selfish from tomorrow. Civil servants too are willing to be selfish from tomorrow. Olotu says lawmakers do nothing and collect so much.
Exactly.
So apparently this lawmaker issue is a big one.
He says, Mobolaji says 65K can do nothing, but goes on to say it's too much as minimum wage. Some African countries pay over 80,000 as minimum wage. 65 is good. Onus is on the government to get its act together and amend system to sack workers where workforce is bloated.
I was going to come to what, because Nima has always on this couch talked about the fact that there are lots of workers, especially in many foreign companies, where they're having issues where the workers are not being protected. Their rights are not being protected, social security issues. We don't see labor flexing muscles then. You are there fighting by yourself, trying to see how you can get the company to compensate for something that happens. But issues of minimum wage, that's when we hear labor talking.
But then we have to clarify, there are so many companies in Nigeria that prevent their employees from joining any union. So if you don't unionize...
That's an abuse on its own.
Exactly. So if you don't unionize, it's quite difficult for any labor union to come to fight for you.
No, it's not.
Most usually, because how do you hear, why, Nima? Because how do you hear the information? How will you get to know what is going on?
Okay, let her respond to that.
Let me explain. Labor can come together a team. That's the way the sincerity of labor goes. We know that there's an availability of labor in Nigeria, and that's why all these foreign companies are coming. And there's always obviously going to be an abuse if we don't have a union. What a union can do is compel every company. Either you allow your workers be a member so we know whether you are protecting them, or we shut you down from production. Also, it can happen. They take over. Yes, it's happened before. Somewhere.
It happened in MTN when they shut down MTN.
So that's even an example. But somewhere along Ikorodu Road, this company produced what's it called? Extensions. And labor shuts down the gate because some of the workers, none of the workers were a member of the union, but they heard the abuses, even to the point of health abuses, someone losing their arms or legs in the course of production, and the company does not come.
They don't ask for anything.
It is when they hear they get to act.
This is how it is done. You don't have to hear. Every company setting up in Nigeria, if labor is that strong, will compel such companies to either conform with working labor regulations of international standard or be part of a
Let me take this call from Zamfara. Morning, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
To PE crew, morning. Yeah, what the labor supposed to fight for? It's just pure wickedness. Why could they not fight for a week's total package? If they fight for a wage total package, so-called the so-top people there, they will have that chance of invest that money. Why? Because they cannot take 30 days without no money. But they look at the common man, of which he has no hope. His hope is, to believe on God. Right. Which I believe if they can fight it up for a week, they will not embezzle that money again. And this nation will move forward.
All right. Thank you very much.
That the sincerity of Labour in what they are fighting for is questionable. Now, let's look at what the state governors, what the National Assembly can do for state governments. In Akwa Ibom, the Niger Delta, that's Rivers and Akwa Ibom, for instance, there's major gas flaring. And we have this problem of generating power. If you can just take power away from federal and give the states and allow states to decide which part of their budgets they want to invest in diverting this gas to certain points for power generation for their state. They can then get, revenue from that. That's one.
Let's say the national grid program.
Before you go into
that problem has lasted for long. But if I'm a gas producing state and I decide to divert, instead of flaring the gas, to power in my state and generate funds for my state, the National Assembly should be jumping, and whoever is
and you wonder why they're not doing that.
Constituencies
with the solution. We had the NLC chairman. Sorry, please. We had the NLC chairman here, so we give information to the viewers. The NLC chairman that came here said that you don't need to be a member to report violations. So if there's a labor violation in your company, you can anonymously report it and write a letter to the labor union, and they would come to the office and fight it on your behalf. Right. So don't say that I'm not a member of the union, I'm not allowed to unionize. You can report to labor and they will fight for you.
But how effective has this been so far?
Those people don't report. That's what he said. The few they reported, they fought for it.
That's why I would rather they don't have reports. The abuse of availability of labor in Africa generally and Nigeria particularly, it's obvious in your faces. You drive past there, you see the obvious enslavement of Nigerians. So labor should now be saying whether or not we are allowed go into companies and demand to see at least a sample of their pay. They will talk to workers, close down the company and compel companies to be part of labor so that they can fight for labor's rights. I want us to go back
to the reason, because now they're compelling the entire country to go on a nationwide strike. Okay. I need to really understand the real rationale, because the government is not telling you they're not going to increase. You are saying you're reading the body language of the government, and they're saying, give us a little bit more time. Now, is Labour taking advantage of this political season to push this thing? But is that right for me? Now you're going to tell me to stay home. I won't earn salary just because.
Quickly, let's just look at it this way. Yes. The federal government just approved money for pensioners of Nigeria Airways after so many years. As to just released money also for universities as well to carry out some things after so many demands. So you look at it that most usually the government, not this government, but governments in Nigeria somehow get to listen more during the election year. It's just simple mathematics.
Yeah. I'll come to our audience now, but let me quickly take a few tweets and I'll come to you. We have a call. Hang in there. Morning, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Hello. Go ahead, Sonny. Go ahead, please.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
My first time of calling.
Welcome to the show.
Concerning our minimum wages, I think it's very annoying to hear the federal government said that to delay us to this time, because what is 65,000 naira in Lagos? What is 65,000 naira in Lagos? Look at the cost of living in Lagos. It's outrageous. And even up to now, made to understand that even the Lagos government are not paying the 18,000. They still pay 12,500 to their work as their minimum wage, which is very, very annoying. I think the Nigerians should rise up to this and fight for themselves, because I don't see this government fighting for us. Even most of our labor union are fighting for themselves.
Right. So you support the strike?
So
you support
the strike is the best way to go.
Thank you very much, son. Let me come to the audience. Let me get to the audience, but let me take one or two comments from the audience. Please go ahead.
It is very obvious that...
Your name, please. We have to know your name.
My name is Tosin Odewale. It's very obvious that federal government cannot pay that 65,000 minimum wage. But what happened in other climes is that they improved their social waiverism, like free access to medical and access to loan. So if government can do that, maybe it can consolidate their efforts.
So, all right, Nima. I want to explain why the strike was necessary. So they've been unable to reach a consensus ever since negotiations started. September was supposed to be the deadline when the new minimum wage would take effect. Now the governors from day one said they cannot meet up that. They should be allowed to determine what minimum wage would be per state, depending on what they can get as allocation or what they can generate. So they should be allowed to arrive at what minimum wage should be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't conform federally. But I disagree, because then you see lazy governors just wait and say, okay, I'll modulate
let's try it out first. Let me come in.
I'm just going to reiterate what she said. In my opinion, obviously, 65,000 cannot fly for all states. Certainly. Obviously.
But in Nagamara, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So, but like, of course, Oshun, even 18,000, they couldn't pay for so long. Right. So, like she said, let state government decide. Now, I believe that even if federal government...
It's not legal.
Even if federal government agrees and says, okay, we have agreed, let minimum wage be 65,000, you will see that people will not collect salary for 2 years. 3 years. So what's the point?
So motion without movement. Mariah, let me come in here. Let's quickly look at this issue, because when you're talking about increment. At the end of the day, regardless of any amount the federal government pegs the new minimum wage at, so long as an increment, it means that there will be too much money in the system, which will cause inflation. And that is why some analysts have talked about the government, improving the health sector, putting health insurance in place to make, affordable, universal health coverage affordable, infrastructure and all that. At the end of the day, you won't spend so much money because everything is available. Absolutely. Exactly. So everything is available.
Let's take a few tweets before we run off on a break. Okay. Go ahead.
Yom says, Labour fighting for increasing wages would always increase inflation. They need to fight for social amenities, just like what she just said. Emmanuel Oyoma says, come to Warri Refinery and see how much casual workers earn. You would weep. As small as the money is, they still owe them up to 6 months and even more. Christopher says, this is Nigeria. We know these guys are fighting for their own national cake, not for good cause.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll take calls and more comments from our audience. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. I know we have a few people on the audience on standby. Go ahead, please.
I am Niniola Suleiman Babatunde. About Osun State's revenue generation, I suggest they should make private investors flood that place. That place is a very good place for farming. Exactly. They should get agricultural raw materials to invest in and at least export and get funds for Osun State. By so doing, their debts will be cleared. And about this 65,000 naira, it's too high. Honestly, they should bring it to a reasonable price, like 30 or 35,000, that people can reason with and flow with as well.
Thank you for your views.
I believe that the issues of the economy, the issues of funding in Nigeria is holistic. If we deal with this minimum wage alone, we still have the problem of how can they fund it. So it's not just about saying that, oh, we want to increase minimum wage, oh, we want to create more pots. It's about holistically designing a framework. What is the roadmap for Nigeria? How do we want to generate money? What are the avenues we will do? We have brains. Okay, so how do we involve these people?
Template, a master plan.
How do we get them to do what they really can do? Because solutions, he has one solution. A lot of people have solutions to the problems here. They say the government is not willing to buy into it. They have cabals involved.
So talking about customized minimum wages per state, the NIMA has an issue with that. But do you think that if each state says, this is the figure I can afford, now the people cannot hold you to that figure because this is what you have promised us. But when it's a figure that is imposed upon you, you might have an issue with that.
Naira is the minimum for the government.
Yes.
If they say, let's move it to 30,000 naira minimum for everybody, each state can now modulate higher, but not go lower. But all the states must move away from that 18,000. It can't do anything. By the time you are buying food, even in the north, even in the area where you think...
One of the tweets you read was suggesting that, why don't we do the per hour rates? That might actually, because then you're paid based on how much hours you put into work. So it's not about this figure everybody's talking about. You earn per hour. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that per hour in Nigeria, first of all, we already have a
end of the month mentality.
Yes, and there's also the fundamental thing about people that work in government, whether state or federal, as per. I don't have to put so much to earn whatever I'm earning. And most of them have side hustles. And so if peradventure they ever want to do per hour, I do not think that even the people that they are fighting for will agree to it.
Okay, let me take this call from Chidi and I'll come to Caesar. Chidi, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead,
Morning.
please. Morning.
Yes, I actually want to talk about the minimum wage. You see, the politicians are there taking the money, stealing the money, huge amount of money. But we cannot pay the civil service 65,000. Common, it's very common. Because what they take from the government cost is a huge amount of money. Look at people, Nigerians are suffering. The civil servants are suffering. What of those that have wife, kids? What do they do? But these so-called politicians will not make the law that will favor the poor masses. And the poor masses are dying of hunger. How much is 65,000 we're talking about?
Right.
What they take
Thank you very much,
is
Chudi.
much.
We need to correct something. They haven't arrived totally. It was a suggestion. So Labour had initially proposed 56,000. Another group proposed 85,000. And 65 was like the compromise, as according to the papers yesterday. But we don't have a figure yet. So I don't want us to use that figure as the final figure. Yes, so you're going to say something that come to our audience.
Assuming figure. I wanted to allude, I put an example to why I say you cannot allow state governors decide customized minimum wage. We saw Obasanjo take a fuel price up, and Yar'Adua came into office and brought it to 65 naira per liter, and he sustained the economy of Nigeria with it. If you allow these governors a leeway, they will tell you it's difficult for me, and everybody will still fight to get into office. Because you know what? They will get their salaries whether or not some people are owed salaries. That's the problem.
And that is the issue.
Everybody vying for office for the governor of any state must have a plan. And the stakeholders who are the investors, the people of that state, must see that plan like a company. Okay, we are putting our trust in you, that you can make this happen. If you can't come into office and generate money internally or anyway, don't even try to buy into office.
Like I said earlier, it is easy to make a plan, but how easy is it for you, you know, to actually stay through the course? Because most usually, politics in Nigeria is quite expensive, you know. When you spend a lot of money to campaign, to, you know, to brush them, to rub people's back and all that, when you get to power, your first focus is to, you know, amass a little wealth. I'm not saying they are doing that or not. Anyway, on the other side, you talked earlier about maybe Nigeria adopting per hour payment. It could work, but on the onset, it could, you know, face a little resistance, but at the end of the day, it will work. But you have to look at so many parameters. The value of the Naira, how much is it going to be worth? Because it's not about the Naira now, but the purchasing power. What is the exchange rate of Naira to the dollar?
Okay, let me take this comment. Yeah, go ahead very quickly.
So I think that there is something fundamentally wrong with the mentality of our leaders and subsequently people even vying for these positions because they don't have the people as the forefront of whatever they're doing. There's nothing like my priority is to make my people happy. That's not their priority. And that if that fundamental is not changed, then I don't think we would ever get any result.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, I feel that I agree with Labour fighting for more. But I also understand that the government is not employing most of Nigerians, which means that there are many other people that have nothing, that have nobody to fight for them. So I want Labour to go beyond just fighting for salary increase for people within the civil service, but also fight that we have basic healthcare, good education, so that even when you earn that 60K, you can use it to do something substantial as opposed to just paying bills all around.
Let's take some tweets. Omoyoma Emmanuel says, put the minimum wage at 65 naira and the government will be able to pay. Because we have lazy and clueless governors who don't know how to generate money internally, they will shout that they can't pay. And then Ogbezika says, see, beautiful ladies, we are all saying Labour deserves minimum wage of 65,000. I concur with you, but then also we must talk about civil servants who are not productive at all.
All right, so we have to wrap up. I think if you don't gotten anything from this conversation, a few things are clear. We need active governors. So if you're going to vote in somebody who actually has a plan to internally generate for your state. Number two, the lawmakers must be able to change, at least they must understand our economics, what we need, and try to change those laws. Because right now the laws seem to be so favoring, working against the people. Checks. So we need to be very good. Yeah, they must serve as checks for us. So when you're voting, be clear. Don't just vote for party. Be clear on who has the vision, who has direction, who has your interest at heart. Let's not just follow the bandwagon and just vote for party.
We'll find 1,000 ways. Our government can actually pay that money.
All right, that's all we can take on the show. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we. Thank you so much, our audience, for being here. It's a rainy Wednesday, but you are here all the same. God bless you. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.